We welcome in Troy. And Troy, this one won't be your game, but let's talk about it anyway because it's hit Dallas. It's going to be very big. And Jason Garrett said this week he's never seen a quarterback on tape play to the level of Peyton Manning in a league now that maybe has gone overboard with the rules, and I think some people are starting to feel that way, and making it too easy to pass the ball. His numbers still are startling, there's no question, as he hits Dallas with 16 touchdowns and no interceptions and a 75% completion. Just incredible statistics.
Yeah, and probably is as big a deal. I mean, I know that it says that there's, you have to throw an interception, but from what I've seen, we had him last week. I mean, he hasn't come close to throwing an interception, so he's made good decisions with the football. He hasn't thrown it where the defense even has an opportunity. His receivers are creating a lot of separation. Clearly the rules favor the passing game. It's why we've seen the numbers become what they've become. Statistically, you'd say, yeah, he's having the best start that he's ever had in his career, which is really saying something. He's been playing at a high level for as long as we can remember. I've said it before. Maybe I even said it on here last week that I think week in and week out, he's the most consistent quarterback that I've ever watched.
Of all time. I don't think there's any question. I've been watching for 40 years, and he's the best Sunday player I've ever seen. He's just not the best postseason player I've ever seen.
Well, that's a good point. And, we all go out there and have games where they're just really ugly. He just doesn't seem to have those. But as you said, he has had some, when he's gotten into postseason. Some of that's because of, when you're playing against the Patriots back during that time, they created a lot of problems. But, obviously a great player. I think that, even at his age, at 37, there's no doubt in my mind he'll be in his 40s before he's done playing, as will Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees and a number of guys. I retired. I was 34 years old when I retired. But because of the lack of hits on these guys, we're going to see a lot of those records that we thought maybe were untouchable. They're going to be reached. And last week I happened to see that Peyton, I think if he plays 3 more years and does what he's been doing pretty much throughout his career, he will surpass Brett Favre.
He will, yeah.
It's pretty. It's been quite a career for him, and we're not done watching him yet.
And I would say the answer is to my question is no, because the league is now at revenue heights that it's never dreamed of. It's now headed steaming towards $25 billion a year within the next 5 years. So we know that it's very popular. It's never been more popular. They say there's 90 million dedicated NFL fans in America, which is, when you think about it, it's insane, but 90 million. But have we gotten to the point where we have to balance this game towards the defense a little bit in some way, or are we okay if these games become 60-50?
Well, I think your premise is an interesting topic, Mike, because there's no doubt that the game, each year the ratings continually go up. Our ratings on Fox are up again this year. They've been trending that way for the last 10, 15 years. And you just say, hey, when does it all end? And, so when you add Thursday night games and then more and more people are watching the games and you're continuing to grow the revenue pie. And I think you do have to be real careful, whether that's, hey, maybe things are getting a little more slanted to the offense. How do we rein that in a little bit? Do we want to rein it in? But I think even on a much deeper level, even though the popularity of the NFL game is at its highest point, and maybe that continues for a few more years to come, maybe that happens indefinitely. I don't know. But I do know at the grassroots level and at a lot of other levels, football is not as popular. And at some point, does that trickle into the popularity of the professional game? I don't know. But
That's a good point.
I know that there are retailers that I've talked to whose football apparel is down 25% from where it was a year ago. So there's a lot of kids that are not playing football.
I think part of that is the head injury scare where parents are afraid of concussions for these kids now, too. I think that's a bigger issue that the league has got to, and football in general has got to come forward with and deal with, efficiently.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt.
And you know that better than anybody because you've been through that, so you know that.
Well, and you've got the moms and the dads who don't want to have their kids go through those things, understanding what has been coming out, this book that's coming out.
Yep. I haven't. I started it last night, and it's going to be a rough book. It's going to be a rough book.
The documentary is going to come out,
yep.
And I think I thought anyway that once the settlement took place, okay, that was going to put to bed a lot of these types of discussions, but clearly that's not the case.
No, this book's going to rock the world. This book is going to. I'm telling you, I started it last night. This book is going to cause some waves. There's no question.
Well, it's going to, and as you probably know, Mike, I'm imagining you do because you cover all the sports, that yes, there are a number of head injuries that are occurring in football. I don't know that even with all the changes in the rules, if the head injuries are down, are they up, are they flat? I mean, because every week we're still seeing head injuries, and yet it seems everyone's doing everything they possibly can to try to protect these players. But there's head injuries in soccer. There's head injuries in all these other sports, and in some sports more so than football. But nobody really talks about those as much. There's certainly a lot more discussion, and not that we shouldn't have those discussions, but there's a lot more emphasis on what is happening in football rather than what's happening in some of these other leagues. Lacrosse has got a number of head injuries. So it's not just football. It's a lot of other sports as well.